All right, so tonight, we're gonna be talking about female issues.
Oh, great. I mean, sorry, no, maybe not.
So,
Okay.
a lot of these we think are not coordinated, they're from different things, like maybe cramps, maybe fibroids, maybe PMS, irregular periods. And we're told they're all random from different aspects, or we don't quite understand where they come from, and that's not actually true. All of this is a stress response. All the issues that you'll have in reproductive cycles are a stress response issue. And how this works is when the body feels that it's being attacked, subconsciously it will turn off systems that it knows use too much energy to defend yourself. So it'll turn off reproduction and it will turn off digestion to stop you from using energy at a state which would not be used to protect yourself. So what it does is it takes that energy from your reproductive organs and your bowels and moves it towards your heart, your lungs, and your muscles. And as a byproduct of taking that blood away from that area will start to necrose or die. It will start to have different problems. So such things as, like, say, a fibroid or a cyst is because instead of sloughing off all the tissue correctly, it sloughs off little parts. So when I say sloughing, it means removing or letting go of. And so one area will keep growing tissue because it's not getting a proper blood flow, and when it keeps growing that, or one area will not get enough blood flow and the other one will, and it'll just keep growing, and that's how you get a fibroid. One area just grows too big. And so you'll hear things like, well, I went and got my fibroids removed, and I go, okay, and then they grow back. So there's an issue bigger than the fibroid there. The issue is why is that happening? And what's happening is the brain is stuck in a chronic stress state. Now the problem is that people in North America believe stress is normal. Oh, it's okay. I'm just getting things done. I'm just running on high. It's all normal. I just need my coffee in the morning. But the interesting thing is I was just in a third world country and they didn't have those issues. You didn't have these big female issues going on because the people have a different mantra. So I was in the Caribbean and their mantra is, go slow, man. And so they'd be like, literally one guy said to me, he goes, why are you so much up, down, up, down? Go slow, man. Just take it easy. And that easy is the reason why, and I found this interesting, I wanted to say this, anecdotally I just started talking to the locals and I said, how long do you guys on average live? And they go, oh, 90 to 110, 120. That doesn't happen in North America because we're in that stress state. The reproductive issues are just because of that stress state. So you'll find people, and I can watch them come in, and if I shake their hand, I know their hands are cold, I'm gonna go, I know that person's gonna have reproductive problems, it's a female. Or she's gonna have some sort of issue like that. And that's the general reason why reproductive issues happen. The glandular or hormonal problems are the exact same thing. Because when you're stressed out, you're going to push cholesterol out into your blood to cause it to clot. And cholesterol is the backbone for every single hormone. So if you don't have enough cholesterol in your body to make hormones, now you're going to be hormone deficient. Now you're going to have estrogen deficiency, testosterone deficiency, and this is why we have impotency in males and infertility in females. It's literally because we're pushing cholesterol out. We have high cholesterol in our blood, but we can't use that cholesterol to make hormones instead. So it's going towards defense instead of towards healing. So the two systems we're talking about is fight and heal. If the cholesterol is right here and has to go for fight, then it can't be used for heal, which is hormones. If you don't produce the hormones, then you don't have the right hormone levels, and then you'll have weird issues going on. And that's why they do hormone replacement, or the little blue pill, or all these things. It's all because of this. The cholesterol isn't going to the wrong place, it's going towards fight instead of relaxation. Or I just had a patient who came in, and she came in and she had a problem called hyperhidrosis. So her hands are sweat, and they would be wet all the time. This is a stress response. She'd had it for 30 years. We figured out what was going on, we took care of her, and for the first time in 30 years, her hands didn't sweat. Now there's going to be a fluctuation because the body has to learn how to get back into that healing state, into the healing, the relaxation, the parasympathetic, but it works with every single thing. So the female issues, you name it, and it's all related to a stress response. Hormone imbalance, stress response, too much cholesterol. Maybe we get fibroids. So the cholesterol is going into the blood instead of turning into hormones. Or testosterone or estrogen, whichever. Both male and female do the same thing. Maybe we're getting fibroids or PMS. We're in stress for too long, so we take the blood away, and then we have strong arms and a good heart and lungs, but we've taken all the blood from our reproductive organs, so now they don't work correctly. Maybe we have a bowel problem. And these are all, I'm generalizing it because it doesn't matter what the name is. You can call it whatever you want to call it. It's all the same issue. The diagnosis is literally a grouping of symptoms. That's all it is. So I say, okay, it's red, kind of pussy, and it's on your toe. We'll call it big toeitis or hallucitis. That's all a diagnosis is saying in Latin a grouping of symptoms. So it doesn't really mean anything. It's just, I have a grouping of symptoms, and then we've been taught by the pharmaceutical companies, if you have these grouping of symptoms, you give it this name, and then they give it this drug. But that's not how the body heals. How the body heals is you have to put it into healing. You get the brain into the right frequency. So the reason why we have reproductive issues and North America is really high, we're literally not reproducing at the right rate because we're stressed out. And you see other cultures that aren't as stressed out and they don't have reproductive issues like we do. Because they literally can heal. They can produce the estrogen at the right levels. They can have the blood going to the reproductive organs correctly. And you'll talk to these ladies and they'll go, well, I don't have a period. I go, well, that's bad. That means you've literally pulled the blood away from there so much that the tissue just keeps growing and doesn't know what to do. And you've literally disconnected because the brain goes, we're not even going to look at that part. We'll take care of that later, after this attack is over. But the problem is that the attack is subconscious. We subconsciously think we're being attacked. It's not a aware thing. And the only way I can say this is until you go to a country or a place where it's very, very quiet and away from the North American concept, and then come back, you'll see how aware or how agitated everybody is. And that agitation is what's causing the disease, because it causes our brain to get stuck in these high frequencies that doesn't allow us to heal the organs. So the lack of healing is why the organs are not working right. The lack of healing is why we don't have the right levels of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, these different things. Say we go into things like bowel problems, colitis. The big one now that I hear about is gluten intolerance. It's all the same thing. Our bowel literally remakes itself. Now don't quote me on the exact time, but I believe it's like 12 to 24 hours. And when it remakes it, if the blood is sucked away from there, the nutrients won't go there. And what I mean by that is sucked away is the body literally shunts. So shunting means it turns off. So at different areas, the blood vessels, when they come down, around the vessel are muscles. The blood vessel actually has muscles where it can contract it and expand it. So shunting means it literally pushes on the vessel and less blood can go there. That means less protein and nutrients can go there. Less oxygen can go there. And if you have that, then what will happen is you start getting holes in your bowels because it can't heal itself. That's called leaky gut syndrome. And then proteins get through, big ones, and then your body attacks them, and now you have an autoimmune problem to a protein, which is basically gluten intolerance. You're attacking something because it's not where it should be, it's foreign, and now your body attacks it all the time, and if it gets into a certain part of your body, it attacks that as well. Well, the problem is it's circulating throughout your whole body, so whenever you eat gluten, you get swelling and puffy, because your body's attacking the gluten all over, and as a byproduct, it attacks your body. So the bowel and the reproductive issues are all the same problem. And this is a huge multi-billion-dollar industry. Hormone replacement, infertility, in vitro, all these different things. And the problem is if the body isn't gonna be in a healing state, there's no point in trying to force it into a state where it's gonna reproduce. And that's why people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. I had one lady came in and she had 3 in vitro fertilizations and none of them had taken. And I'm like, oh, I shook her hand, I'm like, you are stressed to the max. You're not gonna heal until you relax. We can literally give you all the drugs and everything you want, and you'll be lucky if anything happens. Because the body is gonna take care of or get rid of or get rid of these things. And we know this because we've heard the grandmas and moms and everybody else, don't get stressed out when you're pregnant because it'll cause an abortion.
Oh,
Really, yeah. So if you get too stressed out, then you'll have that miscarriage. And it's because the body goes, no, we don't have time to use 30% of all our energy to make a baby. We gotta protect ourselves. And we know these things, but we've been taken away from, we've been tricked into thinking that it's something outside of ourselves. That it's some voodoo thing, that we need a special pill to heal it. And that's not the answer. The answer is if we can get your brain to calm down, then you'll heal. That's the ultimate goal, is healing from within and knowing that when your body's in relaxation, it will heal itself. And it's not a question of if and or but, it's a question of how long have you been stressed and how long will it take you to get unstressed. And when you're unstressed or back to normal, that's when you heal. Do you guys have any questions? Yes?
So specifically thinking about the reproductive piece, if you are stressed for your whole life or whatever,
Mhm.
based on this premise, and then you start to heal, are you healing at the stage at which you are now? Or what is it? So now you're post everything. So are you healing at that stage, or
What's everything?
baby making,
childbearing.
childbearing?
Okay.
You're postmenopausal.
So you're postmenopausal, okay.
Mhm.
So-
You're, so are you healing at that level, or is there a restoration piece, or, this is assuming like that you missed your whole childbearing.
So it depends on how far along you are. If you've completely gone through menopause and you've had a complete change in hormone balance,
Mm-hmm.
it really depends on how far down that rabbit hole you've gone. Because if you get it early enough, you'll notice that women will start saying, well, every time I get adjusted, I get hot flashes. Well, that hot flash is hormones pumping through your system again. And the body turning back on. So I can't say that there's a black and white line.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that depending on each woman, it can change. Because unless you've had your uterus removed, there's always a chance where everything will start working again. Now, obviously you get to a point where all your eggs have been used up and it's done. Because most people are not aware that you're given all your eggs at conception. So you have all of them, and then you go through life. And you ovulate so many times, and then once that is used up, then you're done. So it really depends on how far along you are. Now, if you're in your 60s, obviously it's done.
Mm-hmm.
But what will happen is your hormone balance will start coming back. And because of that, you'll start seeing things like people get thyroid problems start going away, or hair starts growing back, or skin starts getting better, and all these things start getting better. So I can't definitively tell you a black and white line, because what we're seeing is we're stressed earlier and earlier, so people are going into menopause earlier and earlier because they're literally destroying and running themselves out. And because their body has been so low in hormones for so long, it thinks it's at that point and turns itself off. So if we can get you to a point where you don't go complete through menopause and you're earlier enough in your childbearing years, then yes, conception is possible. It just, I know I'm not really giving you a black and white answer. It's really each person dependent and how far along it's been. I adjust some women, they're like, well, I have menstrual cramps again, and I have menses again. I go, yeah, that's healthy. I don't
It's
want
like,
it.
thanks, Doc.
I go, thanks. And I'm like, no, if
There's
it's
a
not
reason they call it
working,
the
yeah.
curse.
If it's not working, then we can get fibroids and we can get big issues.
Right.
But if it is working, then we're flushing and we're healing and our hormone balance is correct. And if it's imbalanced, that's where the problems come in.
So can you talk a little bit more about that? Is it all of your hormone, like it,
So specifically for females, you're talking about progesterone and estrogen.
and that's what's,
And that's the balance. So when your progesterone goes up, that's what causes you to flush.
okay. Okay,
The higher progesterone is what pushes up and it'll let you know when to flush. And that's what they test for to see if you're pregnant or not pregnant.
right.
So do you have the push? If you don't get that big push of progesterone, then you're pregnant. Because your body has taken that hormone and now moves that energy into childbearing. So now it's gonna start using it to make cells.
Mm-hmm.
Because cholesterol, the funny thing about cholesterol is, it's the backbone of every cell in the body. And it's what your brain and nerves are made out of. So here's an easy thing to know. If you're taking a statin drug to lower your cholesterol, you're literally lowering your hormones. Testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. So you
That's why one of the side effects is lowered sexual
A little
drive.
Yes.
tea.
Yeah, but besides that, it's also your periods will go all erratic, you'll have mood swings, you'll have PMS, all that stuff because you're taking cholesterol meds.
Interesting.
You'll also start lead towards diabetes because cholesterol is used a lot in the pancreas.
Yeah.
So you see all these side effects and you go, well, why do you need to do it? Well, the answer is that's what is making you sick. So I highly recommend that you don't do that. The high cholesterol is because of stress. So if we decrease the stress, then the cholesterol goes down and can be used in the right area. The cholesterol has been blamed for the culprit of heart disease, and it's not the culprit. Harvard has already shown that 99% of all heart attacks are due to a ketosis or an acidosis. So your heart is going into a spasm due to basically not properly contracting, not because of the cholesterol.
Got it.
So you want to see what's actually going on. Now, it's easy to blame it because it's there. Now, here's the funny thing. When I was in grad school, they said, well, high cholesterol has nothing to do with age because, get this, they did a study on Vietnam vets that were 18 and died, and they had cholesterol and it was clogging their arteries. I'm like, no crap. They're getting bullets shot at them. What do you think's going to happen? Cholesterol's going to go through the roof. It's going to be pushed out. So you can't say the cholesterol is the problem. It's the stress that causes the cholesterol.
That makes sense.
So that's why they had clogged arteries and all this stuff, is because they're running on stress for a year. They're being shot at every day. They don't know if they're going to live or die. Yeah, they're going to have high cholesterol. So we're made to be like a zebra. The lion comes after us, we run away, and then 15 minutes after lions run after us, we're grazing again and we're okay. But we don't do that because the lion now is driving to work, is my boss, is turning on the television, it's all these other things. So the lion is always there, and that's why the chronic stress is going on.
That's a great analogy.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Cool. Anything else, ladies? Cool.